We're here at QuakeCon 2010, here talking with Paul Wedgwood of Splash Damage, looking at Brink. Paul, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you very much for having me.
So, Paul, tell us about what we're seeing of Brink here at QuakeCon.
Well, you know, we probably, I've met with you maybe 5 or 6 times talking about our previous games, you know, Wolfenstein Enemy Territory, Quake Wars for the PC, and we always have great events with press where press get to see the game behind closed doors at private events, you know, for the guys that the games industry can consider to be VIPs like yourself from GameSpot. But it's very rare that the public really get to play a game before a game is released. And one of the great things about the way that, you know, Bethesda and id Software and Splash Damage, of course, are doing things is that you could get to take part in these huge events like QuakeCon and actually give the public a chance to play the game as well. And that's exactly what we're doing here. So all of the people that are coming to QuakeCon that are attending, whether, you know, they're in the massive bring your own computer hall and playing in the big LAN party or just turning up to have a look around, can go down to the exhibition floor, watch a cool training video that kind of accelerates their knowledge of the game. It's just 5 minutes teaching them how to get in and play quickly, and then jump in and play in these big 4 versus 4 matches supported by additional AI, so another 12 AI playing alongside them, with one group playing as security and one group playing as resistance, just really trying to kick the beep out of each other.
Tell us about some of the new features, the new, kind of evolved, choices that you guys made in the design to really encourage players to play as a team.
Well, I think it starts with kind of understanding this notion that most players, including myself, are fundamentally selfish about the way we play games. We want to play games because we want to have fun, first and foremost, and we want to be rewarded, you know, for actions that achieve things in the game. Well, one of the things that we do is that we reward you most when you're doing things that make the game fun for other players. So if you're playing as a medic and you're giving out health and reviving people and supporting your teammates, that's when you're going to earn the most experience points. But XP alone is no use because, you know, that would just be the way that you sorted a scoreboard. So it has to lead to something more fundamental. So what we do is have persistent character advancement, so a method by which as you level up you can modify not just the look of your character, and we have almost endless, you know, customization options for making your character look really, really cool, but we let you modify your weapons too, so you can add scopes and red dot sights and silencers and muzzle brakes and front grips and grenade launchers and magazine extensions to all of the weapons that we have in the game. Plus you can also modify and upgrade your abilities. So we have universal abilities, and these things, you know, they apply no matter what combat role you're playing, but then because we also have combat roles, engineer, operative, soldier, medic, we allow you to buy special skills, tools and gadgets that allow you to play that role in an even better way too. So in essence we kind of reward a player's competence with added game depth, so it never gets boring. You can play for months and months and still be having a good time and enjoying things and trying out different combat roles and stuff.
Sure, but it also looks like, from what we've seen playing the game and what we've seen previously, Brink is also intended to be a pretty open-ended experience. In the middle of a match, you can kind of switch classes. You can open up a different weapon loadout, change your weapons. Yeah. Can you talk a bit about, you know, kind of that open-endedness and that choice and the ability for players to kind of mess around in mid-match?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it starts with just this assumption that ultimately players want to have freedom, the freedom to adopt a playing style that suits the way that they have fun, to go where they want in the mission, you know, not be forced down a specific route and be on a minecart. So to support that idea of freedom, the risk then, of course, is someone doesn't know what they should be, what's the best thing they could do at this moment. So we have a dynamic mission system that uses essentially an AI squad commander, and this AI squad commander will generate a bunch of missions for you automatically on the fly. So it's going to take into account, you know, the combat role you're playing. So you could be a soldier on the front line, it'll give you a mission to blow up a gate. You could be playing as an operative, it'll give you a mission to hack into a computer and open up a door to get your teammates around the outside. You'll always have a bunch of these missions that you can do at any given time, and they're constantly dynamic and shifting and changing. But what's really cool is when you go online and you start to play with other players, it takes into account all the missions other people are doing and dynamically adjust the things to help you coordinate. So what we're proving here at, you know, at QuakeCon is we can take a bunch of strangers and have them coordinate together to get stuff done, even though they've never met together and they haven't kind of worked out their plays or anything.
And it looks like, I guess, one of the big things at QuakeCon here that we're showing is the 360 version of Brink for the first time. We've seen the PC version in action. Clearly, it's not, you know, it's not just a simple running on shooter. There's some complexity here. There are mission objectives. There are different items you use. There are different weapon loadouts you choose. Can you talk a bit about adapting the game for console controller?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the thing is, we knew when we started out that we knew how to make a good mouse and keyboard game because of all the stuff we've done with Wolfenstein Enemy Territory and Enemy Territory Quake Wars. But the question is, how do you add that much depth to a shooter if you're limited, you know, on an analog controller to a smaller number of buttons? Because on a keyboard you can rebind everything, right? So what we wanted to do is make a shooter where irrespective really of whether you're using a 360 controller or a PS3 controller or a mouse and keyboard, you have the same great game experience. And that means you must be able to lean, you need to be able to duck behind things and shoot over the top of stuff and control your profile, using things like our smart system to have some kind of parkour elements to the game, so you can vault and slide and mantle and climb and jump between gaps and do little wall jumps and that kind of thing. And all of that stuff is possible because we've put so much effort into really getting the controller right. But for us, we just decided to be platform agnostic. Even at the very beginning of the game, you know, if we were developing on the PC, we just used 360 controllers. Or when we were out at E3, we brought the PS3 version of the game. Oddly, here at QuakeCon, we're showing on an Intel development platform, but with a 360 controller plugged in. So we're not letting people use the mouse and keyboards, because it's nice to prove you can have that depth of control, you know, mechanic, but on a 360 controller.
To close out, if you could remind our readers at home when the game is coming out and for which platforms, please?
Sure. So Brink, it's being developed for the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 and PC, and it's going to be released in spring 2011.
Great. Thank you very much, Paul. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Cheers.